Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Steve. This is the Formation.Fi AMA session for February 2022. It's the 9th of February. I'm joined here with Josh, with Christoph, and with Ravi. We're going to be answering some of the questions that were asked in the Discord. This is an audio stage that's been hosted in the Discord. Firstly, gentlemen, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. I appreciate your time. How is everybody doing?
Pretty good. Thank you for asking, Steve.
Thank you, Josh. Good to see you. Christoph, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Awesome. And Ravi, you okay?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, doing great, Steve.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah.
Brilliant. And for everyone that's in the audience and you're listening, you can use the AMA live chat. You should be able to see that. Let me just make sure you can. There we go. The AMA live chat is now available. You will be able to see that to ask your questions. So the AMA live chat. So first of all, guys, let's just talk about the obvious elephant in the room, the website. There's been a lot of talk about it this morning. We can see there's been some updates. Version 3 of the farm is now live. Thank you so much for doing that. I know a lot of people are really grateful for that. But we can also now see version 1 alpha is available on the website. So amazing news. I know there's a lot of people excited to get into that. What I just want to say to the community who are listening, we do have a guide to using V1 alpha, and I would urge you not to use it until we have the opportunity to give you that guide. We're going to be working with the community testers first. We're going to be talking about it today with the team here, but just before you ape in, because I know some people have already, just allow us to just guide you through that process, please. But yeah, do you want to take it away and just let us know about how the week's been for you guys? Christoph, do you want to lead this and just let us know how's this week been for you so far?
I mean, it's been pretty good. We deployed V3, as you know. I know that our current APY is not, it's probably missing expectations since it's not that high. But yeah, we just made it a little bit higher right now. So you should enjoy it, like 60%.
Perfect. And that's actually one of the questions. In fact, that we can actually get to that question straight away if you want. We can ask that. So some people have asked, will the APY for the liquidity pools, will it be better than the single staking farm? Because people are concerned about what would be the incentive about staking in liquidity when they could just single stake for 70%.
Right. Yes, we're gonna increase the APY. We're just gonna do it slowly. So, but it's coming. We've already increased. As you know, we started off with 2.5%. Now it's about 60%. And I'm not gonna give you the exact number. It's gonna be pretty much dynamic, but it will be a little bit higher than single staking. That's for sure.
Perfect. Amazing. Okay, fantastic. Well, that answers that question. Fantastic. Josh, how are you doing this week? How's everything been for you? Some people have been asking. One of the questions that keeps coming up is, what are the team up to? What are you guys doing? Like, what does a week and a month look like for you? So, how's things been for you, Josh?
It's been good and busy, and a lot of the exciting things with the development team. I think at this point we are very much focused on completing our internal testing of alpha, and it is a gargantuan task because we are working through this pandemic. I think 2 of our developers have been down with the Omicron. So there was a little bit of a hiccup on the HR side, and we're all working remote. I think we're covering like a 4 or 5 different time zones. So things have been, sort of challenging because of that. But otherwise, we've made a huge progress last month. And so we're very excited to take the next step. So yeah, it's been good overall.
Nice. And I know that yesterday was your birthday yesterday, so I just want to extend and say happy birthday, Josh, for you. And I know the community are joining, and and share your best wishes for yesterday. And just again credit, because I know you were working, so the fact that you were even able to like log in, check messages, and still be working even on your birthday, I think that just goes to show that there is a lot going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, really appreciate the comment. I mean, it's not just me. Everyone at Formation is working, and I know it doesn't show too obviously on the surface, but development is just, to most outsiders, it's boring and it doesn't show very well. But underneath the surface, there's just a lot happening. So every day we are making progress, and so it's we're busy.
Awesome. I appreciate your answer there, and it's good to know and good to hear as well. So before I jump in, Ravi, I'd just like to hear from you as well. I know there's been a lot that we've been talking about regarding the guide and getting people ready. Is there anything you would like to share with people just before we get into the AMA session about sort of expectations for Alpha as we launch this next stage of the app? Anything that you want people to know kind of in advance before we get started?
Sure. So guys, yeah, as we've been mentioning before, there's a lot of things we are doing for Alpha, and we are doing it because it's necessary. And the last week, which Christoph and Josh also said, has been about testing. But it's actually we've been testing it for several weeks before that, and now people have already seen it on the main app. But we are still testing it. So as Steve said, please hold on. We're very close, and we just want to make sure that everything is absolutely smooth. And then we will open it to the community testers, as Steve said. But it's been a great and very exciting time because the last few weeks we put together and connected all the pieces of many, many, many months of work. So it's finally great to see that all coming together, and that's been a really fun and exciting time. And definitely, yeah, that's we're looking forward to opening it up soon.
Nice. I appreciate that, and thank you. I know you've been working extremely hard behind the scenes, and as more members come on and join the team as we start to ramp up, I know it's going to be exciting, and we're going to see a lot of progress. I know we'll start to get a lot of that energy back into the community, and I'm excited for that. So just to kick off the AMA from the community, I'm going to open it up to any of you, whoever wants to answer. I won't direct it, so feel free to jump in if you want to. But the first question's from JR, and it was a question about Alpha. Will there be regular reporting? The actual question was, will there be a monthly report or any other periodically to create for the performance of the Alpha Index? Will it be transparent?
Yes, let me answer that. So the quick answer is yes, but it's not going to be this form of a monthly report per se. Hopefully, the alpha, the price, the token that we will be releasing that represents underlying asset pulled into this in this a portfolio called Alpha. Should be that price should reflect the underlying assets price way more regularly than monthly. So it should be at least like a daily, but the actual number that will be displayed on screen will be basically real time. So there will be a whole lot of reporting that's going to come out, but our current focus is building this asset deployment and construction system. Now, in terms of dashboard functions, all the fancy schmancy stuff, the graphs, the charts, the numbers, and all that stuff, that is at this point a little bit secondary. It's sort of like when you try to build a car. Right now, we're focusing on building the right chassis, engines, and then all the batteries and key basic essential ingredients. Once all of those components are working well, then we're going to start thinking about all the dashboards and paint colors and making the seats all nice and comfortable. So it'll be staged, and it'll be deployed on a sort of a one-by-one fashion.
That makes sense, and I think that's sensible, and I think people understand that as well. So thank you very much for answering that.
Steve, if I might add to that,
Yes, please.
I think as Josh absolutely highlighted, it is secondary, right, as he said. But we do have a set of metrics that we will display on the website. But as Josh said, we want to get everything working, and then it will be like a small, something that we will add to the website itself. So that's in the plan. We're working on it, but as Josh said, it's secondary. So, and that will show basically for an investor, what you care about is what is your risk, what is your return by investing in alpha. And as Josh also said, it's going to be more than monthly. You will see it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, the performance. And we will also try to show why investing in alpha is better, because the reason you invest in alpha is you don't want to have too much risk, right? Concentrated in, let's say, if you just put all your money in Bitcoin, it's too concentrated, risky. So we will show why putting it in alpha is better compared to all those assets. So these sort of things we will do. But again, the focus is not on that. First, we want to make sure the product is absolutely good, as Josh said, and then we'll focus on these other metrics, which will also definitely be there at some point.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for answering that. Christoph, I was wondering if I could ask you a question that coming from Thomas says, with the release of alpha and eventually beta and gamma, what will be the utility for the form token? What will be the purpose for holding form?
Well, the purpose of holding form is basically having the ability to earn on top of the protocol's earning, right? So whatever alpha earns, we're going to share that profit with all our token holders.
Right. So, okay. So by holding form, you'll be eligible to the rewards from the alpha, beta, and the gamma as long as you're in that pool. So do I understand that you have to have the alpha token to get the reward for the amount of form that you hold?
You have to have both. You have to have both.
Okay.
Form token and alpha in order to participate in our basically profit sharing.
Okay, so you have to have form to access alpha, and then the amount of form you have, with that will determine a level.
The amount of form will determine your profit pool share.
Perfect.
But that is also going to be combined with the how big your position in alpha is. I mean, how, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So
a bit like a tiered system with form, a bit like.
I don't know whether we covered the NFTs with our community yet, because I don't want to front run things. So yeah, so all the details will come.
Sure. I think again, best wait for the guide.
But there's a huge utility towards formation tokens, so people should not worry about it.
Sure. And I believe there's going to be eventually you're looking to transition into a DAO model, and with a form token offer governance at that point.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I think that answers that question. Okay, so a question just while we're on to you, Christoph, just for now. What are your plans and what are the team's plans for next month? As we, I know we're just coming into February, so let's use this month. What are your plans for the next 4 weeks?
Yeah. So except the development, we're also restructuring things internally. That means we're gonna have some new key hirings that are being processed right now. So hopefully we're gonna reveal those key positions that are gonna join, formation team within the next couple of weeks. We are basically building our team more stronger, more efficient, and with the people that basically share common vision with us as how we want DeFi to look like, in few months from now. So that's basically, one of our top priorities right now, except from the development part. we're still gonna, we still have a lot of work when it comes to, alpha, because that's, you're right now we're just in a test phase, right? So obviously, we're not guaranteed that everything is perfect right now. So, it will also probably take us a couple of weeks to fully deploy that on a fully fledged basis. And then as we move forward, hopefully with restructured internal team, we'll move towards Gamma and the rest of the products with the final release of the parity.
Perfect.
So that's from that's on the surface. Also, obviously, we'll prepare pretty far-fetched marketing strategy that we're gonna hit, because obviously, I do realize that our token price is pretty shitty right now. We're not focused on the price, so we're just focused on on building the product, and eventually, a token will probably follow. So, but for those of you who are curious, once alpha is gonna be fully released, we're gonna hit it with pretty strong marketing. We do have a lot of partnerships aligned that haven't been revealed yet. So we basically gonna utilize all this.
Amazing. And I know that there's been a lot going on in the back end. We've actually seen
Yeah.
a few of the partnerships being, just trickled out
Yeah.
now and again, but I know that there's a lot there. So I think the community will be happy to know that, there's work going on there to build up that side of things. Awesome. Great news. And I agree. I think the token is something that will recover once the product is launched. A question on the product, which was asked, is, now that you have alpha, and I know that you're still working on it, so with that in consideration, how long as a ballpark do we think beta might take in comparison?
Yeah, so maybe I could take that question. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay, good. So we think it's going to be shorter. Alpha took way longer than expected because we realized that as we were coding, we were dealing with problems that were far greater than our own, meaning we can't solve the problems of bridges, the security issues in, cross-chain sort of, these are very infrastructural issues that we sort of kind of dabble into. So, and we came up with a lot of creative solutions, and I think that's part of the reasons why the overall development time for Alpha has been delayed. In retrospect, we should have known this, and then we should have reflected that into our roadmap. It's just that when you look at the roadmap, it's very linear. Like alpha, beta, gamma, parity, all four of them will take basically 3 months. It's a very academic approach. Like in reality, things don't work like that, right? So alpha took a lot longer. We think that beta will take much shorter. I think what we need to focus on alpha is more on like concepts, because we were so heavily focused on development aspect, where now we need to kind of go back and understand what is the market is looking like today, because like market 6 months ago and market today are fundamentally different. So we're going to have to reflect that market condition into designing our beta strategy. So other than that, I think the actual coding part will be shorter for sure. I think Gamma is going to require more development. It is, I would say, a lot different than Alpha. And then Parity is where everything comes together. And that is really, for us, that's an incredible innovation that we're going to have to perform. So, yeah. So to answer your question in a very brief fashion, just for beta, we think it's going to be short.
Okay. I think that's good for now. We can understand that I think we all agree that it's better to not give a finite timeline and miss it. Better to just say that we'll update when we can and manage expectations for the community. And I think they appreciate that. Thank you for your answer.
Sure.
So
Sure.
whilst we're just talking on alpha, a question that has been asked by Gudu, I hope I pronounced that right. Gudu's asked, what will be the utility of the alpha token? Will it be a stable coin or not? Will you have to swap it? How is it going to work in relation to the community once it's live?
Yeah. So
Josh,
maybe I could.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So
Josh, go on.
I could answer that parts of it, and then I will also give opportunity for Ravi to explain further. So alpha token is a lot like just an LP token. When you put your money into let's say Uniswap, it will give you LP token. That is your pro rata share of ownership stake in the pool. It's a very similar concept. But before alpha token is issued, we do have this brief moment where the users will own an NFT that represents an underlying deposit before this deposit actually gets turned into actual asset within our overall sort of the asset portfolio. There's a lot more fine details. When you say the alpha, token, there's a little fine nuances. But once you have this alpha token, then you should be able to perform many interesting DeFi operations. You could swap it into different tokens and what have you. So that's really where it is sort of like an LP token in the regular AMM pool, but it's actually more than that. So I will let Ravi sort of further explain the utility of alpha token.
Amazing,
Ravi?
thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks, Josh and Steve. So guys, I mean, this also touches upon the previous question a little bit. Now, alpha, beta, gamma, and parity, they're just names, right? So we need to understand what exactly is that, right? See, alpha is, think about it like this. You have, let's say, $1,000. Now, if you put it in alpha, what you get for that is your $1,000 will be spread across 24 different assets. So think about it like this. If you had to go and purchase 24 different assets yourself and keep managing that, that is a nightmare. So we are doing it for you, and you just need to hold alpha. So alpha gives you ownership of a group of assets, which will be looked at by our investment team, right? So that is what alpha is. So it is giving you diversified, risk managed wealth enhancement. So that is the real utility of alpha. And beta, gamma, all these things are built on top of this alpha. So alpha itself is, in my understanding, there are no protocols that are even doing that, right? So when we go to beta, gamma, so if people are asking about beta, oh, we want beta, alpha is already miles ahead of what other protocols are doing in terms of providing risk managed wealth appreciation, right? So when we get to beta, gamma, and other things, when they come, it'll be several miles ahead. So that is the real goal. But we have to understand that this is about making sure that your money is not put in like one very risky asset, but it is spread across multiple of them, and then that wealth will grow. That is the real alpha and the real utility of that.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much for that answer. I appreciate that. And very well explained. And I think, obviously, to just stress this point again, Ravi has been working on a document. We're turning it into a presentation. And please wait for us to publish that, as it will explain in step-by-step simple terms everything that you need to do and to understand about alpha. So yeah, please wait for that. It will be released shortly. So a next question is, will there be an unbounding period? And if yes, how long?
Yeah. So maybe I could answer that, and then Ravi can also further explain if necessary. So during our community testing phase, when you put your USDT, and there will be at least one day a hold-up period. So your money will go in, and then you will not be able to unstake it for at least 24 hours. In a regular full deployment post-audit, let's say commercialization of alpha, that initial sort of required period for staking will go up to probably about a week, 7 days. Meaning, once you put, let's say, your $1,000, you're not going to be able to unstake it for 7 days. Now, again, this is when everything's all buttoned down and then fully audited, and we feel comfortable saying it that this is a commercial version, and then that'll be the case. Now, that period could actually change. We're not gonna guarantee that it's going to be only 7 days. I mean, these policies may fluctuate, but the initial version is designed as that 7-day staking requirement. After that, you should be able to unstake.
I think that makes perfect sense. And so, yes, just to reiterate, during alpha testing, there will be a 24-hour lockup. And it's also, I believe, as you've just touched on there, Josh, $100 will be the initial deposit with a 24-hour lockup. And then after testing, once it goes officially live and out of beta, or out of the testing process, it'll be $1,000 to invest with a week lockup. Can I just confirm if that's accurate, Josh?
Yeah, that is accurate in terms of the minimum deposit amount. These numbers can change. So I mentioned those numbers as a more of a placeholder. Now, let me bring your attention to why we need to have this type of a required staking period. Let's suppose that you are putting your $100,000 into these hedge funds out there, and they usually have this very strict the redemption sort of requirements where normally when you put your money in, you actually don't get to take your money out, at least I would say typically at least like 1 quarter. If this is a private equity, you're not going to actually take your money out for 7 years. These are much longer venture capital, private equity type of funds. So obviously, applying that kind of period is just completely unreasonable for DeFi because things are moving faster and there's a lot more involved algorithmically. So we don't have to do that. But this type of required holding period is extremely common for this type of a managed asset or the portfolio manager or the fund management business.
Perfect. And I think I think this is a really good opportunity for us to educate the community, because I find in DeFi, specifically this year in DeFi, there's a lot of when Lambo, when profits, why am I not rich yet? And we've seen this with this instant gratification, that this is not traditionally how things were done before crypto. And in these managed asset pots, they need time. They need time to mature. They need time to weather the storm. If you're ever looking at a market, and you're thinking it's either going up or down too quickly, you need to zoom out. And I think that's one of the things that with time, we'll be able to see that as long as there is a steady, solid upward curve, then that is what we're looking for in terms of, or I believe what the team are looking for in terms of progress. They don't want the volatility that you would get from having one asset, which is why they're having a basket of assets to remove that volatility and to increase the or to decrease the exposure to risk, and that's what they're talking about here. And so there is that lockup period for that. Awesome. Yeah. I think that there's. Yeah. One
Steve,
thing, please.
So sorry, just about that, right? And as Josh also said, this is what we thought was a good thing to start with, right? For community testing, it's a lockup period of 1 day. There's also a $100 minimum. When it goes later, it is 1,000 and 1 week. But the reason why all these funds that Josh talked about, private equity, venture capital, and now Formation, why they have these things is Because from the investment point of view, when we have a certain amount of money, we need that money for us to stay with us for a certain amount of time before we can really make it work and provide the results that we do. If it keeps coming and going, and it becomes just too hard to be able to do what we really want to do, right? So it will it will inconvenience everybody. So that's why we kind of thought that lock-in period is a good thing to start with, but we might change that policy. But again, the key here is that it is to benefit everybody else,
Right.
so that we are able to provide the wealth appreciation and the diversification for everybody. If people walk in, walk out all the time, that's going to become a problem. So that's why we're trying to do that. Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. And as an example, we've seen this work extremely well with Luna. If you look at the Terra Luna network, there's a 21-day lockup period. A lot of people, myself included, did not take out our funds and the initial investment because of that 21-day not getting in your... Because and this would be a good question, actually, I've just thought of myself. If you do remove your alpha tokens and you're in that period, do you then not get the... Because in Luna, as an example, if I remove my stake, I do not claim any rewards during that unstaking process. Would that be a similar thing that we could expect for Formation.Fi when you withdraw your stake? Will you then not be eligible for the rewards whilst you're unstaking?
That is a great question, Steve. That is really a great question.
Maybe one for the next
We
AMA.
we actually thought about having this sort of a tiered approach, right? Where if they take out, so let's say the minimum lockup period is X number of days, let's say 10. If somebody takes it out in 2, we thought, they will only get a certain percentage of that. We thought of doing all that, but then again, when we are just starting, right, we don't want to add all these complexities, right? Because our main goal is to actually make sure that alpha is diversified going into a number of assets. The weights are calculated automatically, the rebalancing happens automatically. So that was the main goal. So these are just, simple things later that we can change, and we might go to that sort of approach that you said. So right now we just thought simple. People put money in, they can't take it away for 1 week, and that's a simple thing now, because it's easy to communicate, and it still achieves the main objective that we have. But later we might think about that kind of a tiered approach where, depending on how long somebody stakes and how long they're supposed to stake, they will get a part of the profits or something like that. That's a good one to introduce later on.
Perfect. Well, I mean,
yeah,
sure.
I just want to share one anecdote since you mentioned Luna. So the Luna, the team that created Luna is a Terra, and there's one famous Korean guy named Kwon-do. He was one of the I think 2-3 creators of the whole concept. It took them I think more like 3.5 years to get to their all-time high, which is like 100 billion market cap. But for longest time, I remember for more than 2 years, they were trading below their public listing price. And this was Terra. And the Luna really didn't take off until Anchor Protocol came out, which was about 6 months ago. So, people sometimes wonder, like, these guys are doing that well, and then they perfected their approach. It's not overnight. It took them many, many years and lots of millions of dollars going in. So I just want you to know that since you mentioned Luna, it sort of kind of my light bulb went on in my head. It took them a long time to come to this type of well polished, well oiled sort of policies that governs their entire system. It didn't come overnight. So for us, because we are more community based, basically DeFi hedge fund, a lot of our approach will initially be inspired by what's been already done in high finance on Wall Street. Now, it's going to take us probably more than a year or two. I'm thinking more like 2-3 years to get to the level where things are well oiled. Really, people can relate to it. Things make a lot more sense and so on. But in the next couple of months, as we deploy our very first system, it'll be a little bit clunky. The number may not make sense initially, and a lot of the initial policies that we're putting out, it is more of a sort of an initial state. Things could change depending on how things go. So yeah, I know this is off topic, but just wanted to share that with you.
No, it's greatly received, and I appreciate your feedback on that. I think from the community's point of view, I think that we've definitely dealt with a lot of the challenges that have happened in the past, and I think that it's something that, as you've rightly said, once the product starts to mature, the price will recover. Once the product starts to mature, the community will start to come back and see that. But we are in very, very early stages of an extremely complex product, and for people to understand that. So just before we wrap up, I want to ask just any final closing comments from all of you, but I will just take one question that I've just seen come in, one last one from Dan. I'm going to read it out as it's come in, so I haven't had a chance to pre-vet it yet. But he said, Dan said, we've heard that the team is not concerned about the current price due to being focused on building a product, and we appreciate that 100%. But the community is basically full of people with average prices of minimum 15 cents and above. So could you please keep in mind, because they're not seeing a steady upward curve, but rather a free flow to below the IDO price, what a few people have been asking is, will there be some things in the future that they can expect to maybe help to do that? I mean, we know marketing is one of them, but that is just can the community be assured that in the future the team are aware of that and they will do what they can?
Yeah, we're gonna do buyback and burn. That's for sure.
There we go. Okay, so you've just heard it there, folks. There's going to be a buyback and burn, and so details of that can come out later. We don't need to worry about the details right now. I think the community right now, you just need to appreciate, let's get the products live, let's get it working, let's test things and make sure they're okay, and then we can look at everything else that we need to look at. You need a longer term vision here for this project. But guys, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to hand it over. Are there any closing remarks, any last words, things you want to share before we wrap up February's AMA?
Yeah, so I just want to share one thing. So the burning of our token is already baked in as part of our execution plan described in the light paper. And as alpha, beta, gamma parity, as the overall TVL grows, after we meet our initial...
Oh, Josh, I think we just lost you there. It looks like your audio cut out. Okay, Christoph, do you want to just carry on there? I think Josh might have just disconnected for a second there.
Hello, Steve. Can you hear me?
Hey, Ravi. Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I feel like... Oh, no, Josh is back.
No, Josh is back.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was getting incoming call. So the... I don't know how much you guys have heard, but so the burning of the token is basically guaranteed as we grow, because that's part of our protocol, the overall system. Whether we're going to buy back, that is more how we efficiently deploy our USDT reserves. At the end of the day, we could spend the money to increase the token price. That's easy to do. Throwing money at the problem is usually easy to do. Or we could deploy that capital to hire better engineers or more long-term community development. So I am leaning more toward making the investment for the long-term value creation, as opposed to just a one simple blip on the price chart, so that a few of the token holders will benefit, but it really doesn't improve the overall fundamental bench strength of the team. So as the founder of the business, what I would rather do is, if we have a lot of money, I would get superior engineers to help us to build amazing technology. I mean, if you look at Cardano has 800 engineers working. That's just a one simple blockchain out there. If you look at Terra, they got hundreds of amazing engineers. For Formation.Fi, for us to get to that level of excellence in operation and the asset management, we need a lot of great people, and they're not cheap. So I ask the community to understand the challenge that we're facing. So we will work on the price. I believe that this is not the right time. This is time to build. This is time to invest rather than trying to cash in or cash out.
Yes, I agree, and I think that this goes back to that conversation we was having before about that instant gratification and that when Lambo mentality, which I don't think helped when we had the sticker set made. Maybe that set the wrong expectations at the start. But I do like the idea that people understand that this is a long-term play, and the fact that you're at these prices now. Once the market picks up as well, the whole market in general has been in a downtrend. I mean, we're already seeing, just looking at the graph right now today, we're already seeing an uptrend. Now, and that's just because of general market conditions. We're almost 10% up, just basically on the market picking up. So I think as we start to deploy more, the marketing team comes on board, we start to do things. I think it makes sense from a community perspective for us to watch and see how that how the price reacts to that first before considering any buyback options or anything like that. Because as Josh has rightly said, once that capital's depleted, it's depleted, and better to throw it at building with better engineers and better team than just for a quick pump in a price so some people can exit. Ravi and Christoph, do you have any closing remarks? Anything you'd like to add to the AMA before we sign off here?
Sure, I can. Christoph, I mean, I don't know if you want to go first or...
Yeah, well, I do understand the kind of tension on the token price, as I'm an investor myself, and I know also like how the kind of mechanics of the emotions work around it. So whatever Josh said about our long-term strategy in terms of investing within our company growth, I fully align with that. However, we do also reflect the emotional sentiment when it comes to our community. We do want to make our community happy. We do want everyone to make money. Like, we're here in this game to make money all together, ultimately, right? This is not the time to cash out faster. If you're here just to flip, then forget about it. This is not a project for you to flip, to play on the speculations. We're not going to reward the speculators. We will reward the people who are with us since the beginning, that were with us when hit the fan, and that are going to stick with us where we're going to build. Okay, and that reward will come. I'm pretty sure that once everything is said and done, the token price will definitely appreciate in value. We're not cashing out anything. Even if we're gonna need more capital, we're just gonna raise more capital of the market. We're not gonna use our treasury tokens for that.
Nice. Okay, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that. Awesome. So Josh, thank you. Christoph, thank you so much. Ravi, do you have any closing remarks?
Thank you.
Anything to add?
Sure. Yeah. So guys, so what we have said is that we'll give alpha, beta, gamma, and parity, right? I think a little bit of the what do you call, not seeing the same thing, maybe us and some of the community and the investors is, oh, they haven't even done alpha yet, and when are they going to do parity, right? So if we look at it like that, I think that's probably reflected in the stock price, I mean the token price, whatever, right? But the way to look at it, and I would emphasize that, is, oh wow, alpha is already doing all this that is not happening elsewhere. And if we start looking at it like that, I think, and we become the cheerleaders for all of us who are trying to build something like that, which is a very interesting and also a product that will take away some of the problems with the crypto space. So if we see alpha is already doing all that, and when parity comes, it'll be a lot more. So if we look at it like that, I think then the token price will automatically reflect the work that we are doing. So, and I think that'll take care of all these token price and other problems along with that.
Nice, thank you. I appreciate that, and I think we'll start to see that. I mean, I personally went through and answered probably 30 of the support tickets, and we managed to close them out just yesterday and today, just based on these updates.
Wow.
So when these updates come out, we will start to see progress. You know, we are starting to get through, and I appreciate, and I know the team appreciates, there's been a delay in getting the funds released that were locked up with a hack, and that was unfortunate. And this is like what I said on yesterday's stage that we did. You know, the team are doing something that's never been done before in a space where there is no one to learn from. There is nothing that they can pull upon to say, well, this is how it was done before. This is new. We're trailblazing here. As a result, we all know and we're all aware, and the team have even said, and they hold their hands up and said, look, this was a bigger task than we expected, and as a result, it's taken longer. So not only are they stretched in terms of time frame anyway, then you add a hack, then you add some people in the team getting COVID, then you add all of these other challenges on top. It's caused these ongoing delays. But when you take the delays out of the equation, everything's working okay. I mean, we've had a few hiccups along the road, but we're getting there. It's not a dead project. It's not a rug pull. It's not been fudded. The team haven't run away. They're here today, right now, talking to you to reassure you that you are going to be okay as long as you just have patience. You don't actually need to do anything. You've already done it. You've invested. You're here. You just now need patience and let the team do what you initially believed and trusted the team to do. Let them do it, and everything will be okay. And guys, I just want to thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy, but for coming in and doing these sessions, I know that the community appreciate it. Hopefully the community can appreciate, you know, the communication with you guys, and thank you all so much. I think that concludes this month's AMA.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Really appreciate it.
No
Appreciate
worries.
your effort.
No worries, Josh.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Steve. Amazing
Yeah.
job.
No worries, Christoph, and Ravi as well. Take care, everyone. Thank you very much. I will post the recording as soon as possible.
Okay.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.
Take care. Goodbye, everybody.